Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel and to another session of RBI 247. My name is Karnima and I'm your mentor for finance current affairs. Please let me know if I'm audible to all of you and also if the board is visible. Hi, good evening everybody. Okay, please give me a thumbs up or let me know if I'm audible so that I can start the session today. Today again we have three news or topics from RBI, that is from RBI website. And बहुत टाइम से हम RBI की ही न्यूज पढ़ रहे हैं. So from next time we're going to either pick up news from SEBI or core finance current affairs. Audible and visible. Chandana, thank you so much. चलिए, let's start. The first topic today is about digital payment index. And all those of you who were worried, I'm going a little fast, so do not worry. I'm going to go slow from today onwards. Okay. Okay, Divya, I will have a look at the discussion forum. I apologize, I was busy. Okay. Then digital payment index is the first topic that we are going to do. A very important index which is launched by the RBI. Important because बहुत बार questions आ चुके हैं. Very recently in 2023 phase 1 there was a question on digital payment index. इसका बेस पूछा हुआ था आपसे. A very easy question. Phase 1 morning shift में ये question था. The second topic is about guidelines which are set by RBI for penal charges on loan defaults. Now last time we did about certain charges that banks add on floating rate loans. These ones are about loan defaults जब होता है. In that case, banks levy a penal charge, and this is about that only. The third topic is about major surveys conducted by RBI. RBI from time to time conducts various surveys. We have done this in static. However, अब current में ये आया है. That is why I have picked up the news so that all those students who are learning static from me, they can correlate this. So start करते हैं first topic से. Do not worry, I'm going to go slow. Digital payment index. So we all know our Prime Minister Modi ji is moving forward towards cashless economy, cashless transactions, payments cashless, and we are trying to integrate digital and electronic modes of payment to electronic modes in payments as well. So we want that digital payment ki penetration ho to all the sections of society, to unserved and underserved sections of society, to even rural areas. And for that, RBI along with NPCI, which is working under the Payment and Settlement System Act of 2007. So these two organizations are working together towards digital payments in India. And for that, they have brought out so many things. For example, UPI, Aadhaar Enabled Payment System, NACH. These are all digital payment methods. Apart from that, for rural areas or for, let's say, non-smartphone users, for feature phone users, we have UPI Lite. We also have UPI 123, right? So since payments may digital technology or IT, infrastructure technology, information technology is supposed to be brought out in the payment sector, it is important to know or to gauge कि digital payments कैसे हो रही हैं. Are they increasing or are they decreasing? It is important to know or to gauge in the economy. So that is what the RBI is doing. And how does the RBI do that? Through this index called Digital Payment Index. When we talk about an index has various parameters and an index usually has a base. Base क्यों होता है? It is very important to have a base because इस base को हम benchmark बनाते हैं and on this base we come to know either there is growth or there is reduction. In our case, it is either there is growth on digital payment or reduction in digital payment, right? So the base year of digital payment index, हर एक index का base year होता है जिसको हम either 100, sometimes 10 या 1000 marks दे देते हैं. Now this has a base year of 2018. 2018 is the base year and base को हम लेते हैं 100 in this index, which means after 2018, March 2018, that too. After March 2018, how has the digital payments in India performed? वो बढ़ रही है या कम हो रही है? That is known or gauged by the RBI through this index. Divya is asking difference in UPI Lite and 1 to 3. I will explain it to you in static. You are an enrolled student. Okay. Now, RBI publishes this digital payment index, a composite index of RBI, that is digital payment index, on a semi-annual basis, right? 2 times. एक आता है, first is for March and then also for September. तो जो September का data है, it is released in January, and March का data, it was released very recently on July 27 on the RBI website. Up since July, we were not doing RBI 247 sessions. Therefore, I am taking this up in the month of August, and also because it can be asked in your exam. Again, दोबारा पूछ सकते हैं, questions repeat करते हैं. इससे पहले भी 2022 में also there was a question, 2021 में there was a question somewhere around digital payments only, and again 2023 में phase 1 में they asked you what is the base year. So again, base year में they can ask you the month also and the year also. March 2018 is the base year, जिसको हम 100 लेके चलते हैं. Now from 100, this index for the month of for March 2023. Now since it is March, it does not mean कि सिर्फ इसी महीने का डेटा है. It does not mean that. It means कि semi annually वो increase हुआ है और decrease हुआ है. Which means after the last time, has it increased or decreased? The last time this index was gauged. Okay. Now at this point, it stands at 395.57. Important data you have to remember. Last time it was 377.46. अब मैंने दो चीजें बताई थी, डिजिटल पेमेंट इंडेक्स और एनी इंडेक्स, इट हैज अ बेस एंड इट हैज सर्टेन पैरामीटर्स. कुछ इंडेक्स में वेटेज होते हैं, देन देयर आर इंडाइसेस वेयर विद दे हैव अ बास्केट ऑफ कमोडिटीज. लेट्स से सीपीआई में ऐसा होता है, कंज्यूमर प्राइस इंडेक्स. तो इंडेक्स में हमेशा देयर आर गोइंग टू बी वेरियस पैरामीटर्स ऑन व्हिच दिस इंडेक्स इज गॉज्ड. Now, the purpose of this digital payment index, नाम से ही समझ आ रहा है, and I've also already told you, is to measure the extent of digitization of payments across the country. And it is based on multiple parameters. We are going to have a look at these parameters in a minute. And it reflects the expansion of various digital payment modes accurately. कि actually में कैसा हो रहा है. Now, it is the first of its kind index to measure the spread of digital payments across the country. Very easy. Now, we were talking about the parameters. Parameters देख लेते हैं quickly. The first parameter is payment enabler. Now, in parameters को they have also been given weightage. कुछ parameters की ज़्यादा weightage है and बाकियों की कम. So, payment enablers 25% weightage, payment infrastructure and demand side infrastructure 10% weightage, infrastructure supply side 15%, payment performers 45%, consumer centricity 5%. Now a question comes कि यार ये detail में तो थोड़ा समझाइए. I am going to explain it to you in detail. When we talk about payment enablers, यहाँ तक सबको समझ आ गया? Can we move with these parameters in detail? And you have to be careful when you're doing this. ध्यान से समझना ये. Okay. Now, payment enablers. This include all the services which enables payment. कौन सी चीजें आप यूज करके पेमेंट करते हैं? This is nothing but included in payment enablers. For example, आप UPI यूज करते हैं, for that internet is required. Similarly, a mobile phone might be required. IMPS में I was today only I was teaching about IMPS. For that, mobile phone connectivity is required, right? So internet, mobile, Aadhaar enabled payment system. When the government, let's suppose the government wants to transfer certain funds, Manrega scheme ke under, the government's transfer funds or money. So that is done through Aadhaar enabled payment system, and for that Aadhaar is required. Similarly, ऐसी चीजें, ऐसी services which enable you to make payments. Bank account participants, merchants, they all fall under payment enablers. Then payment infrastructure demand side. Demand side. What does demand side means? It means that we as consumers are demanding from the banks or from the authority कि हमें payment करनी है. We are demanding. So it is demand side. For example, debit card, credit card, we demand them. PPI, customer registered mobile and internet banking, FASTag, we demand it. Similarly, supply side, something that the banks provide or payment enablers, or sorry, payment service providers provide us. For example, बैंक अपनी अपनी branches बनाता है. Similarly, ATMs, बैंक खोलता है. POS terminals जिसके थ्रू पेमेंट्स होती हैं, QR code, something that is supplied to the users. The next is payment performance. Here we map how the performance is going, कि performance smooth है या unsmooth है. So cash withdrawals कैसे हो रहे हैं? Paper clearing of checks, that is nothing but paper clearing. Then digital payment volume and value. डिजिटल पेमेंट सिस्टम में वॉल्यूम कितनी इंक्रीज हुई है एंड वैल्यू वाइज कितना इंक्रीज हुआ है. ओके, देन वी हैव कंज्यूमर सेंट्रिसिटी, इन विच कम्स कि कंज्यूमर कैसा रिएक्ट कर रहे हैं, हाउ आर द कंज्यूमर्स रिएक्टिंग व्हेन इट कम्स टू डिजिटल पेमेंट्स. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, आर दे अवेयर इनफ और नॉट, आर दे एजुकेटेड और नॉट. Now, I remember there was a question asked to me in my RBI interview. What is the difference between consumer education and consumer awareness and also financial literacy? ये तीन terms पूछे थे, consumer education, consumer awareness and financial literacy. So there was a ma'am, very beautiful ma'am, in my RBI interview panel. She asked me this question: can you explain the difference between consumer education, consumer awareness and financial literacy? Very good question. Then declines, complaints. Declines means kitni the transactions that they are trying to make, are they declined by the bank or the payment service provider, right? So if I am making a payment and a payment is declined. Then complaints, again, consumer centricity, because the consumer complains about things. Frauds, system downtime, ki system kitna time kharab tha. Why? It is going to affect the consumer only, right? That is why it is under consumer centricity. yahan tak koi problem hai? This is how digital payment index is mapped. Now, the base period is March 2018, जहाँ पे 100 हमने score set करा हुआ है, and semi-annual basis पे RBI publishes on its website. कब से? Since March 2021 it is publishing. This does not mean now. Last year there was a question from a student कि ma'am, there was a question from a student कि March 2021 से आ रहा है, but जो table RBI ने दी है, in that they have also published 2018, 19, 20 का. So see, March 2021 में they decided that the base is going to be 2018. But अब March 21 में अगर वो, let me just give you an example and explain it to you. Okay, now March 2021 में it was 270. अब अगर 100 से सीधा 270 दिखाते तो सब लोगों को बहुत शौक लगता. That is why they have kept a base, क्योंकि यहाँ पे सबसे ज्यादा स्टार्ट होने लगी थी डिजिटल पेमेंट्स. That is why they have kept 2018 as a base. After that, March 2021 से वो continuously आया है, and March 2021 में they gave this data also. From this date onwards, as in March 2021 onwards, they are continuously or regularly updating the digital payment index or given information, publishing the digital payment index after March 2021. However, हमारे पास बीच का भी डेटा है, 2019, 2020 इसका भी डेटा है. Is there any problem यहाँ तक? Because this topic is now over. This is one of the most important topics. क्योंकि अगर आपके पास कोई question आता है, let's suppose descriptive a question is asked, and this question is something related to again financial literacy or digital payments or digitization in payments. Any kind of question is asked. Fintech sector का, suppose एक fintech sector का question आ गया. This was a question that we gave in mocks. Question on fintech sector. What all the RBI is doing towards fintech sector. So this is something that you can give in your answer, digital payment index. Okay. What is the difference between all three? Which three? Jay, Meena. What are you talking about? Please thoda bata dijiye. Then let us move to the second topic today. Again, something related to RBI. What is this? These are recent guidelines that RBI has published. अब ये पहले भी same publish करी थी RBI ने guidelines, शायद वो complete नहीं थी और maybe it was just an information. But I've already explained this. बहुत लोगों को याद भी होगा शायद. But this is कुछ टाइम पहले ही, I think in the month of April or June, this was released. पहले. Now, these guidelines are related to penal charges on loan defaults. So what used to happen was, if somebody is defaulting on their loan initially, तो banks क्या करते थे? They used to add penal charges or penal interest rate. At times, what used to happen was, banks used to levy over and above the charge which was appropriate. Now let's suppose, I'll give you an example. Okay, let's suppose I'm giving a loan, I've taken a loan at 8%, a housing loan, and I have defaulted on that. Now what the bank can do is, let's suppose RBI की guidelines में या bank की guidelines में 1% आप लगा सकते हो addition if for 3 quarters I'm not paying or for 2 quarters I'm not paying. then you can add 1%. So this is applicable as per board policy of the bank or as per RBI guidelines. But let's suppose what the bank is doing. So this is, I've taken an example. मैं पहले ही बता दूं. Now let's suppose what the bank is doing. They are adding 1.5% का penal interest rate. This is something that they cannot do, right? Secondly, what they were doing was they were unclear and they were not disclosing. They were unclear. अपनी website पे नहीं बताते थे कि क्या penal charge है. सिर्फ so sometimes what happens is automatic debit होता है आपके account से. That used to happen, automatically debit हो जाते थे. So this is something that came into light. RBI got to know and they have issued guidelines. Purpose समझ आ गया सबको? Can I move forward with the guidelines? Is the purpose very clear to all of you? Please give me a thumbs up. Okay, Divya. Okay. Now I got it. Okay, Aditi, I think Divya has answered your question as well. Otherwise, next class में हम ये समझ लेंगे static में. Now, let us move at these guidelines. RBI has issued guidelines to regulated entities. Regulated entities का मतलब all the entities that are regulated by RBI to ensure reasonable and transparency in the disclosure of penal interest. तो सबसे पहला इन guidelines का क्या purpose है? Disclosure of penal interest rate. I have already explained what is penal interest rate. Now, lending institutions have the operational autonomy कि वो अपने banks में अपनी board approved policy लेके आएंगे. This is something that they have the autonomy to do that. Now, it has been observed that REs use penal rates of interest over and above. This is what I was saying. Over and above the applicable interest rate. This is something that they used to do in case default or non-compliance by the borrower. Now, effective date, these guidelines will take over from January 1st, 2024. These kind of questions can also be asked. I remember IFSCA के exam में there were 2 questions about the date, the effective date of any guidelines. दो guidelines के 2 questions थे about date. So remember the date as well. Phase 1 में पूछते हैं, phase 2 में ऐसे questions नहीं generally पूछते. Now, on who all are these guidelines applicable to? यहाँ पे हमने पढ़ा it is applicable to regulated entities. Now, what kind of regulated entities? All commercial banks, including SFB, LAB, but excluding payment bank. Can anyone tell me why excluding payment bank? बहुत easy concept है. Then all primary urban cooperative banks, all NBFC including HFC, AIFI. AIFI क्या होते हैं? All India Financial Institutes, जैसे कि Exim Bank, NABARD, NHB, SIDBI, NAPFID. तो इनको हम बोलते हैं All India Financial Institutes. They do not work like regular banks, but या तो ये किसी को रेगुलेट कर रहे होते हैं और किसी सेक्टर को सुपरवाइज कर रहे होते हैं, जैसे NHB हाउसिंग सेक्टर को सुपरवाइज करता है. ओके, now let us move at, okay, so I've already explained to you, okay, I haven't explained to you why these penal charges are levies. Payment banks don't lend. Yes, Subodip Hazra and motorcyclist first one to reply. Very good. Payment banks do not lend. तो इसलिए इन पे ये guidelines applicable नहीं है. ठीक है, very good everybody. चलिए आगे बढ़े. Why penal interest rate are charged? So अब ये question आता है, if somebody is defaulting तो penal interest rate लगाया जा रहा है. This is the purpose. Now what used to happen? Banks क्या करते थे? Profit कमाने लग जाते थे इस penal rate से, right? So if somebody has defaulted or if somebody is not complying to the guidelines of the loan, let's suppose I have taken a loan. So this is me. I've taken a loan from ICICI Bank, and as per the loan guidelines, as per the loan agreement, not guidelines, agreement is the right word. So as per the loan agreement, what I have to do, I have to make payment on every, let's suppose 1st of every month or 5th of every month. और किसी महीने मैंने नहीं दिया. That means I am non-complying to the agreement, right? Then let's suppose I defaulted. या तो let's suppose मैंने पूरा amount नहीं दिया और default ही कर दिया. So in this case, banks have the authority to levy a penal rate. However, banks were using this charge for profit making. So इसका actual purpose क्या था? Discipline, credit discipline. To generate a sense of credit discipline. ये याद रखेंगे. To generate a sense of credit discipline, ताकि discipline में रहे borrower, so that they do not yes, so क्या कि वो default ना करें और compliance break ना करें, compliance of the agreement. Then such charges are not meant to be used as revenue enhancement tool. ये मैंने समझा दिया that they used to do that. So RBI has under this guideline said कि अब इसको आप revenue enhancement tool की तरह use नहीं करेंगे. This is not for revenue enhancement. What is this for? It is to create a sense of credit discipline among the borrower. Now इसमें दो चार चीजें हैं which the banks cannot do. Okay, पेनल्टी की बात करते हैं. So ये these are the guidelines. सिर्फ 5-6 points हैं. Quickly we are going to do that. How did banks make profit? Banks make profit, ज़्यादा interest levi कर देते थे. So let's suppose if 1% is allowed, they are adding 1.5%. वो 1.5% charge करते रहेंगे सारे borrowers से और default borrowers से. So that's how they used to make profit. Okay? Okay, thank you Vikas. ठीक है. Penalties for borrower. Penalties for borrower. Okay, penalty की हम definition देख रहे हैं. What is penalty? So under these guidelines, banks have said, the RBI has said that these charges are not penal interest. They are penal charges. क्यों RBI ने ऐसा बोला है? So that the customer or the borrower knows that these are charges. This is not interest. मेरा interest नहीं बढ़ा है. Now let's suppose I am a borrower. दोबारा एक example अच्छा से लेते हैं. Let's suppose मैं एक borrower हूँ. ज़्यादा पढ़ी लिखी नहीं हूँ. I don't know a lot about loans. अभी तक I was giving loan at 7%. But एकदम से 7+1 आने लग गया मेरे अग्रीमेंट में. And I am wondering क्या मेरा इंटरेस्ट इंक्रीज हो गया है. So this is what the RBI has said. This is not penal interest. This is a penal charge. And this is exactly what you are going to tell to the borrower कि ये सिर्फ charge है. Because you defaulted, that is why it is a charge. It is not a penal interest rate. PDF after the session you will get it. Do not worry. So अब the second point is जो ये charge लगा है इस पे interest नहीं लगेगा. Now the thing is, okay, so banks जब interest charge करते हैं on any loan, there is something known as compounding. Commerce वालों को पता होगा, even science ones as well, compounding. So let's suppose 7% interest बनता है 10,000, okay, plus 1 lakh का principal था. So next time इस interest plus principal दोनों पे interest लगेगा 7%, which means कि इस interest पे भी interest लग रहा है. There is an interest on interest, which means it is compounding. Now the RBI has said कि ये जो charge है on this there will be no compounding, right? Is it clear यहाँ तक? On this charge there will be no compounding. Only interest पे जो generally interest पे compounding होती है that could be done. इसी को हम बोल रहे हैं capitalization, which means हम उसको capitalize नहीं कर रहे हैं बार बार interest लेके. Neither are we adding it as a capital. Okay. Now no extra interest component. ये हमने समझ लिया. They cannot add any extra component to the interest rate beyond these guidelines. जितना as per the board approved policy यहाँ हमने पढ़ा. Banks have a board approved policy for their own. Now as per the board approved policy जितना applicable charge है you can only charge that and not above that. The next point is about policy formulation. Lenders must create a board approved policy. ये हम already पढ़ चुके हैं for penal charges on loans. Then reasonable charges. Up the RBI is saying that these charges should be reasonable and suitable for the level of non-compliance. इसका एक बहुत अच्छा example है. Let's understand this with an example. Ritik Jha is asking, do banks provide grace period for paying loans in case the due date has passed or they just levy the penalty? Yes, they give a grace period. Very good question, Ritik Jha. They give a grace period. अब grace period में भी आप नहीं payment करेंगे तो मतलब आप default में जा रहे हैं. That means या let's suppose 2 quarter तक ही नहीं payment करी और let's say 2 months payment नहीं करी. That is when penalty is charged. ठीक है? Okay, Robin is asking, PDF given by you for RBI 247 are different for enrolled students? Yes, enrolled students get a few other things as well. Okay. Right, then these charges should be reasonable. What does this mean? Now let's suppose there is a housing loan and there is a business loan. Now let's suppose I defaulted on my housing loan of सिर्फ rupees 10,000. सिर्फ इतना interest मैंने नहीं दिया and that too only for 1 month. And that too only for 1 month. Now सिर्फ 10,000 का loan नहीं दिया and that too for 1 month. And the bank levied 3% rate. Now is this reasonable or not? कि मैंने compliance जो मेरी non-compliance है, the non-compliance is very limited. बहुत छोटा amount का non-compliance है. But the charge that is added is 3%. Similarly, let's suppose there is somebody जिन्होंने non-compliant करी है 10 lakh की, right? And they have not paid for 3 months. And for them, the charge levied is just 1%. Is this unfair or not? Right? This is unfair. So that is what the RBI is saying. They must be reasonable and suitable for the level of non-compliance within a loan category. This is also important, within a loan category. कि अगर एक लोन में let's suppose दो लोगों ने हाउसिंग लोन लिया है, तो लोन कैटेगरी क्या हो गई? हाउसिंग लोन. The loan category is housing loan. Now under this housing loan, this category, if two people have defaulted, तो जो उनका लेवल है उसके बेसिस पे ही there should be reasonable penal charge. And uniformity. Now this under uniformity, सबसे पहले तो एक लोन कैटेगरी में यूनिफॉर्मिटी होनी चाहिए. This is one point. The second point is loans to individual borrowers, which means non-business purposes के लिए. Let's suppose I go to a bank. I am an individual और मैं अपनी शादी के लिए पर्सनल लोन ले रही हूँ and I default, तो एक penal charge लगेगा. But let's suppose Adani goes to a bank and he's taking a business loan, same bank, and then he is defaulting. तो उन पे जो penal charge लगेगा, this has to be more. This has to be more than my individual loan. Okay, is this clear? So penalties for loan on individual borrower, that is for non-business purposes, can't be higher than those for non-individual borrowers for similar non-compliance. Similar non-compliance मतलब अगर मैंने भी उतना ही अमाउंट नहीं दिया and उन्होंने भी उतना ही अमाउंट नहीं दिया, which means there is similar non-compliance. Shri Rajan Krishnan, what are you saying? Non-compliance of the, okay, oh, you're answering about non-compliance. Okay, not following the rules. ठीक है. Non-compliance तो यार easy सा English का word है. Non-compliance of the agreement. ठीक है. Then दो last points RBI ने क्या दिए हैं? सबसे पहले that there should be transparent disclosure on your website. Banks and all these regulated entities have to disclose on their website and then communicate it to the borrower. जब borrower पे specifically penal charge आ रहा है, you have to communicate it to them. So बस informed about the applicable penal charge. Okay, और उनको reminder भी देते रहो साथ. Okay, is there any doubt यहाँ तक? We are going to move to the third topic now, and again a very important topic. Okay, now the third topic is major surveys conducted by RBI. Again, RBI की news है, definitely going to be important for us. Now what RBI does is, this is something that I've taught in static as well. तो अब current में आया है तो connect करेंगे इस दोनों को, ठीक है? Now major surveys conducted by RBI. What RBI does is, from time to time they conduct survey. These surveys are related to what is happening in the economy, and also these surveys are about the confidence that the customer has in the economy. Okay, Joydeep, ma'am, when will we get notes for enrolled student? Weekend पे मिलते हैं, आपको पता ही है यार क्या पूछ रहे हो. Okay, now we were talking about consumer confidence survey. Okay, consumer confidence survey, RBI maps कि consumer का confidence कितना है, किस चीज पे. What is this confidence on? This confidence is on economy and on these 5 economic variables. On these 5 economic variables, सबसे पहले इकोनॉमिक की सिचुएशन कैसी है, क्या हमारी इकोनॉमी रिसेशन में जा रही है, और इज इट ग्रोइंग और इज इट बूमिंग. तो आप कंज्यूमर हैं, व्हाट इज योर परसेप्शन. दिस इज व्हाट द आरबीआई इज मैपिंग. सो इसमें आरबीआई क्या मैप कर रही है? योर कॉन्फिडेंस एंड योर परसेप्शन. आपका परसेप्शन क्या है, आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशन क्या है, दैट इज व्हाट द आरबीआई इज मैपिंग इन दिस कंज्यूमर कॉन्फिडेंस सर्वे. देन एम्प्लॉयमेंट, क्या एम्प्लॉयमेंट बूम हो रही है या कम है, मार्केट में जॉब्स हैं या नहीं है. सिमिलरली प्राइस लेवल, टोमेटो के प्राइसेस इंक्रीज होंगे या डिक्रीज होंगे. इनकम एंड स्पेंडिंग, राइट. सो इन 5 वेरिएबल्स पे व्हाट इज द कंज्यूमर्स, द वर्ड हियर इज कंज्यूमर. कंज्यूमर का क्या परसेप्शन है, इज ही कॉन्फिडेंट इनफ अबाउट द इकोनॉमी और नॉट. नाउ दिस हैज 2 कंपोनेंट्स, करंट सिचुएशन इंडेक्स एंड फ्यूचर एक्सपेक्टेशन इंडेक्स. करंट सिचुएशन, वेरी गुड चंद्रा, करेक्ट सिचुएशन इंडेक्स, विच मीन्स कि अभी क्या सिचुएशन है, आप कंज्यूमर हो, आपको क्या लगता है, व्हाट इज द सिचुएशन करंटली. देन फ्यूचर में एक्सपेक्टेशन क्या होगी, राइट. सो दीज आर द 2 कंपोनेंट्स. करंट सिचुएशन इंडेक्स मेजर द चेंज इन कंज्यूमर परसेप्शन. परसेप्शन की बात हो रही है व्हेन इट कम्स टू करंट सिचुएशन इंडेक्स. इन 5 पैरामीटर्स में व्हाट इज योर परसेप्शन करंटली, पिछले 1 साल में जो करंटली हो रहा है, व्हाट इज योर परसेप्शन. फ्यूचर इज अगले 1 साल में. सो हियर वी हैड द प्रीवियस 1 year and here we have the next 1 year future. What is your expectation? We cannot say future situation index, we can only say future expectation index. Okay, how the penal charges is decided? It is decided as per the board approved policy by the board of every bank. Okay, and broader RBI की guidelines हैं, डिटेल में हमें नहीं जाना है, RBI ने guidelines दी है. बट इतना नॉन कंप्लायंस है तो ऐसे होगा वैसे होगा, वो डिटेल गाइडलाइंस आरबीआई देती है। नाउ कंज्यूमर कॉन्फिडेंस सर्वे, हाँ, तो इसमें क्या होता है, 100 लिया जाता है पैरामीटर। इफ इट्स इंक्रीजिंग दैट मींस ऑप्टिमिस्टिक है, and if it's decreasing it means pessimistic perception है। now this is the current situation, ये इंक्रीज हुआ है 1.16 से 116, okay, so this is the increase in consumer confidence index. The next index or the next survey is inflation expectation survey. Again नाम से समझ आ रहा है, what is the expectation of what, of inflation, इस पे डिपेंड करेगा कि हमारी स्पेंडिंग कैसी होगी। So let's suppose if I am a consumer, अब if I am a consumer and I assume कि टोमेटो के प्राइसेस तो बढ़ेंगे ही बढ़ेंगे, which means inflation is going to increase. So what am I going to do? या तो मैं सब कुछ आज ही खरीद लूंगी या फिर मैं टोमेटो खाना ही छोड़ दूंगी। I will stop eating tomatoes and what will I do? I will start saving. So what have I done? I've reduced spending because I was expecting that the inflation is going to increase. Now what will happen? My spending is going to be affected, which means demand is going to be affected, right? Now, so this is nothing but inflation expectation survey. The survey is conducted at bi-monthly intervals by the RBI. Conducting inflation expect. Now, the RBI is conducting this survey since September 2005. ये important नहीं है, सिर्फ ये है bi-monthly intervals पे RBI लेके आता है inflation expectation survey. इसमें होता क्या है? Under this survey, there are qualitative and quantitative responses from the public on expected price changes over 3 month and 1 year horizon. So पब्लिक को क्या लग रहा है, व्हाट द पब्लिक इज अज्यूमिंग, पहले तो क्वालिटेटिव और क्वांटिटेटिव रिस्पॉन्सेज लिए जाते हैं पब्लिक के, एंड 19 सिटीज में ये होता है, अप्रोक्सीमेटली 66,000 हाउस लगा लेते हैं, इससे थोड़ी ज्यादा ही है, 6,000 प्लस हाउस होल्ड में इन 19 सिटीज दिस एक्सपेक्टेशन सर्वे इज कंडक्टेड एंड द आरबीआई आस्क्स फॉर क्वालिटेटिव एंड क्वांटिटेटिव रिस्पॉन्सेज कि आपको क्या लगता है अगले 3 मंथ में what will be the inflation and 1 year में what will be the inflation. The respondents includes, अब the question is कि क्या एक ही तरीके के respondents होते हैं? No. The respondents includes a variety of respondents, financial sector employees, other employees, self-employed, homemakers, तो सबको there is a variety of respondents, तो ताकि skewed data ना हो. Have you heard of the word skewed? Can anyone tell me what does this mean? Skewed. So that the survey is not skewed. Okay, now this again another survey, छोटा सा है, last point है, survey of professional forecasters on macroeconomic indicators. Now RBI also needs कि professionals जो हैं वो क्या सोच रहे हैं, what is the opinion of professional forecasters. So they have a job of they are professionals and they are forecasters, which means they are going to forecast कि macroeconomic indicators क्या होंगे. What are these macroeconomic indicators? Let's suppose GDP कितनी होगी या output growth, inflation, exchange rate. So do you know there are so many biased, okay, somebody Divya Omkari said skewed, biased, distributed, उलझा हुआ, अर्पित, that is the wrong answer. एक तरफ झुका हुआ MJ, yes, that is the correct Hindi version, बिल्कुल, biased. Skewed is tilted towards one side. So if all the respondents will be from one sector, तो हमारा सर्वे क्या है, skewed है, which means it is tilted towards only that sector and towards respondents of that sector only. Okay, ठीक है. Now, so there are so many institutions that give out perceptions and they are professional forecasters. जैसे IMF बताता है कि इंडिया की जीडीपी इतनी होने वाली है, ग्लोबल जीडीपी इतनी होने वाली है, वैसे ही there are professional forecasters to which RBI goes and asks कि according to you what are going to be macroeconomic indicators. So it is nothing but estimation of future path of key economic indicators. Example दिया हुआ है. This is going to be important for RBI and this data is important for the central bank, but also for the government, private businesses and individual households. Now again this is given, RBI conducts survey 2007 से, ये हमें नहीं समझना है. The panelists provide annual and quarterly forecast of around 20 key macroeconomic indicators. ऐसे कुछ indicators हैं, growth हो गया, inflation हो गया. Again, inflation and growth, these are nothing but macroeconomic indicators. पूरी economy में क्या चल रहा है. So बस कुछ नहीं, panel members बैठते हैं, इन panel members से RBI जाके पूछते हैं what is the forecast according to you. And इस बारी का क्या forecast है? They have given a forecast that the real GDP growth forecast for this has been revised revised up by 10 basis point to 6.1%, right? And पूरे साल में कितनी होगी next year? 6.5%. So this year it is 20, okay. This year it is 6.1% and next year it is going to be 6.5% as per this panelist data. Okay. Now this information is about the course. So this is the crash course information. However, course has been launched 2024. Of course, if you want to join, you can do that. Okay. Now the first question. Let's come to questions now very quickly. 3-4 ही questions हैं. फटाफट से खत्म कर देते हैं. Okay, Divya, please ask me कि क्या contradicting लगा. Let me know. Uniformity, RBI is just saying कि uniformity means सबसे पहले तो same category or same non-compliance. So when it comes to non-compliance, if there is same kind of non-compliance, then the guidelines that is followed by the banks, it should be uniform. और the penal charge should be uniform. अगर एक borrower पे एक penal charge है तो दूसरे borrower पे भी वैसा ही penal charge होना चाहिए. Okay, you've already started responding. Yes, 1 is the right answer. बहुत ही ज़्यादा easy question था ये तो. Question 2. Which survey conducted by the RBI aims to capture consumer perception about economic variables such as economic situation, employment, price level? तो ये economic variables हैं. कौन सा survey है? Quickly. Yes, 3 is the right answer. Consumer confidence survey. So E will be the right answer here. E. Second का E. Right. Question number 3. What is the purpose of survey of professional forecast conducted by RBI? To measure consumer perception, to capture business sentiments of the current and ensuing quarters, and to provide an annual and quarterly forecast of key macroeconomic indicators. Now, this is asking survey of professional forecasters. So, professional forecasters क्या करते हैं? They tell you the forecast of key macroeconomic indicators. Here also the answer will be 3 only, E. Bilkul. Then last question for today. Which of the following is true about the recently released RBI's guidelines about penal charges applicable to loans? Banks can capitalize only a portion of penal charges. Then penal charges will now be called penal interest. Penal penalties for loans to individual borrowers, that is non-business purposes, can't be higher than those to non-individual borrowers. इनमें से कौन सी सही है? Because you have to tell me the true statement. Fourth का बता दीजिए quickly. Ritika is the first one to answer. ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया. E is the right answer. Only this is the correct statement. Both these statements above are incorrect. This brings us to the end of the session. If anyone has any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we're going to end this session. Okay, since there is no doubt abhi tak, I'm going to end this session. किसी को कोई doubt हो, you can ask me on discussion forum for enrolled students, and for non-enrolled, comment it down below. Okay, thank you.